Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, I want to discuss load tracking. Not load tracking services or anything, but just load tracking. Okay, I've got a few other things that I want to let you know about and touch on, and we will do all of that right after this.
Need to find loads and trucks fast? DAT connects carriers, brokers, and shippers with the most user-friendly load board in trucking. Subscribe for access to the most loads and trucks in the industry, the best freight rates, data, and more. Start finding loads and trucks today.
Okay, so does everybody have their crayons handy, ready to take notes? Because I want to discuss load tracking, because this seems to be, at least for me personally, and I've talked to a few other brokers and even some customers, some shippers that are running into this as an issue here lately. And that is carrier books a load. It's the load requires tracking, whether it be MacroPoint or DAT or any of the others. And so, excuse me, it gets ready for the time to pick up the load for its appointment time. You send the load tracking, and it comes back as non-locatable or something similar, which means that either it's not the correct phone number or that driver is using a flip phone, right? They don't have a smartphone for the tracking. So I have a dedicated lane that my customer gives me. I'm the only one that gets it, and it does require tracking. It's a sensitive load that they need covered, and so their requirement to me was that I put tracking on every load so that, if there's an issue, I can let them know about it ahead of time. It picks up in the afternoon, delivers the following morning. It's a fairly short run, a little under 500 miles, and they are very proficient on both ends. Drivers are loaded, in 2 hours, offloaded in 2 hours or less, but I'm getting more and more here lately with carriers taking the load. I let them know that, the load does require tracking and everything. And I try to be, that good guy and not send the tracking so far in advance like I know some other brokers do. They'll send it 24, 48 hours in advance. Right, and I know, and after talking to drivers, and I've got friends that are owner-operators and fleet owners, it's kind of a pet peeve. It's like, well, why do you need it? Why do you need to be tracking us that far in advance to the load picking up? So I try not to be that guy, right? I send it, right about the time the load is supposed to pick up, only to find out that, like I said, it's not locatable. And that's happened 4 times in the last week. It frustrates me. It frustrates my customer. And in almost every instance, that driver ends up delivering late. And which means they either accepted the load and he didn't have the hours or something. Whatever happened. And they are not making their delivery appointment. Okay? So they're going to inevitably end up getting hit with a fine for being late. They're going to get hit with a fine for not accepting the load tracking. But then on the flip side of that is when all of that goes down, then there they are crying, boo-hooing, you can't do this. Well, yes, I can. My customer can. It's all in the rate confirmation, which goes back to my previous video about reading your rate confirmations, reading your setup agreements. What's the detention and layover policies? I even had one driver a couple of weeks ago. He goes, "Oh, I thought it had to pick up by 5." No, it clearly stated that it was by appointment. I don't know where communication breakdown is, but I know at least for me on my paperwork, I'm almost overly redundant with the fact that the driver must have enough hours to run, to, that it's by appointment, that it requires tracking, et cetera, et cetera. If you can't agree to that, then don't take the load. Things are tough enough out there already. In fact, I had one driver right now who, on the flip side of that, tried to back solicit me to my customer. Well, number one, my customer is very loyal to me, and I'm very loyal to them. Obviously, as a broker, we're supposed to be impartial, but at the same time, they give me dedicated lanes. They've got other spot market lanes, for me. They've been a very good customer. But when you are lying about, how long it takes to load, even though we have documentation of what time the driver checked out from pickup, and then delivering the load late, do you really think that customer is going to let you in directly? No. In fact, they've put that carrier on their do not use list. That means they don't want me using them, and they don't want any other broker using them, right? And they will not use them directly. So they burned multiple bridges, with their actions, right? I don't understand this. This is a lane that and in fact, with any loads that I have, I would ultimately prefer to work with regular carriers time and time again. I understand produce season's on, with the, in regards to reefers and things, and that always seems to be the case, over the years where, you might have regular lanes, for reefer, and then as soon as, and they're, oh, gimme, all winter long. And then as soon as produce season starts, bloop, they're gone like a fart in the wind. And then come fall, when produce season stops, oh, can we get back on those? Nope. That's not how you keep a relationship. You leave me high and dry, and I have to go search out another carrier to run these. You're not coming back on them, I don't yank anything away from carriers. I expect the same. It's ultimately what I'd like between the customer, the carrier, and myself is a happy marriage. And I know I can say undoubtedly from my end that it's not on me. In fact, I've even sat back and I thought, well, was there something more I could do? I've talked to other people, and I said, it's kind of beating myself up, and I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Am I just overseeing, not some sort of an oversight on my part? Nope. So, when I see, these posts, like on social media about, these dirty SOB brokers and this and that, well, and a lot of it's, I found out after the fact, or, well, did you read your paperwork? Did you read your rate con before you picked up the load? Did you call ahead to the shipper or the receiver if you had questions, about things and you weren't getting an answer from the broker? Everybody should be doing their due diligence, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's hard to have sympathy. In fact, I just saw a post here just a little bit ago, just before I jumped on here, about a load of lumber that got rejected because it was supposed to be tarped. Now, if I'm understanding correctly, they knew it was supposed to be tarped and didn't tarp it, and now they're trying to sell the load rather than taking it back to the shipper. I would probably be careful with that if you're watching this. In regards to a claim, because that shipper might actually want that load back and not want you selling that load. Circumstances can be different, but before you just get all willy-nilly, I'd be talking to the insurance company and your shipper and broker and everything. So guys, I don't know. I'm really to the point. Like I said, I'm getting unsympathetic. I'm sending out tracking now. After talking to my customer, I'm going to send it out first thing in the morning. If I get it back that it says not locatable, you're probably coming off the load. I'll give them an opportunity to give me a different number, a correct number. Otherwise, they're coming off the load and I'll replace them, because if I post these loads, my phone blows up like you wouldn't believe. It's a very popular lane. There's all kinds of carriers that I could pay, to do it, that have no problem with it, because I've got some good carriers that do run it. It's just not one of their regular lanes, and they're not there all the time. But anywho, one other thing I wanted to bring up to you guys is about a double brokering scam that's been going on. I actually saw this from another group, and then he got it from another YouTube channel. It was brought to everybody's attention from this happened to a driver, and what it is, and apparently these are more popular with like Amazon power only loads, but it's running rampant everywhere, and I guess it's happening in California, Texas, Louisiana, all over. But I guess the situation is that there's a carrier booking the loads. They don't have broker authority, and they are turning around and rebrokering the load, essentially double brokering it now, right? Which is illegal. And these are high value loads, and they're sending out tracking to the driver, and when the driver stops, they send another power only to go repower the load. And luckily, this driver that kind of brought it to everybody's attention called Amazon. It happened to be an Amazon load, and they checked into it, and they said, just call the police now, which inevitably I believe he did. But yeah, and they're not paying the carrier that got booked on the load. They're not getting paid on it. The original carrier, I guess, is or has been. So yeah, if you're a broker out there, you need to be aware. If you're a carrier out there, especially running power only, you need to be aware. Do not let anybody repower your load without talking to the broker or the shipper. Be careful, and when in doubt, call the police. Okay, I'd hate to see anything happen to anybody and them lose out or have anything happen. So there was a third thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, and I've gotten a little sidetracked here. If you guys are looking for any of the resources, we've got links for everything down below for the truckersresource.com, freightbrokerresources.com, all kinds of stuff. Guys, if you're not a member of our Facebook group, there's a link down below for that as well. We'd love to see you come in as a member. We keep it spam free, no BS. We truly want this to be a place for everybody to be able to network and communicate and help each other grow, right? So the group is not real fan of dispatchers. So if you're a dispatcher watching this, I've started to let a few in here lately, but if the group starts to get spammy with all kinds of multiple posts and comments and stuff, then we're going to lock it back down, right? So just be forewarned. If you have requested to join the group, make sure you answer the questions. Okay, we're not mind readers, my moderators and myself. So please answer those questions and answer them honestly. Okay. So with that, guys, I wish you a happy Tuesday, a happy rest of the week. Guys, I'd love to hear your feedback on how you would handle this, or maybe you are going through this, but just, after conferring with my customer, that's where we're going to go with this. Is we're going to start setting tracking in the morning, and if it doesn't come up, then they're gone. All right. So something to think about. beware of that double brokering scam out there, guys. Okay. And I guess with that, we'll talk to you next time. As always, be kind to one another.